This video is how I breathed my way into dominating the RTA ladder in Epic 7. For the past 1.5 years, I've been trying to attain the coveted Emperor rank in Epic 7's World Arena. That means top 1,000 out of hundreds of thousands of players. That was my goal. I've always come so close to that goal, only to have it slip out of my grasp, fall out of reach within the last week, within the last couple of days. And last season, one thing that happened to me in particular is that I came up with a solid strategy. And I stuck with it and I learned it and I practiced it. And at the end, that strategy kind of worked. So while Epic 7 is a game of preparation, building units, for creating your roster and your strategy and becoming so good at it and understanding it, I have to have that adaptability as well, or else I'm not going to be able to see the changes, the wild changes that come in the last week of Epic 7. The reason this happens is because many players were not playing up until the last couple weeks of the season, and when that end of RTA season announcement comes, the grinders put their grinding hats on and they go. And it takes them about a week to catch up to people like me who've been playing all season and are already at that borderline of Emperor. And they get there, they bring with them the new meta, the new units, the new power, and you have to be able to adapt to them. And if I'm playing too rigidly, I'm not going to be able to do it. So that is one of the key adjustments I made all season. I've been trying out new units, seeing how these drafts work, seeing how those drafts work, and that left us right at the edge of Emperor, the final week. Today, I'm trying out the Exodia draft. Armin, Crimson Armin, Destina, and Abyssal Yuffie. This draft supposedly can beat anything, can beat anyone, and just sets you up so well for success. Felt really solid and I was in a good position because the next day was a travel day. Yes, it was New Year's, but we got back to climbing. Ain't no holidays for the Epic 7 grind, baby. Armin, Destina, Abyssal Yuffie. But today, it was different. It's a new year. The old strategies don't work anymore. At least they weren't working for me. I was getting casted left and right. If I picked Yuffie, my opponents countered her perfectly. If I played against Yuffie, nothing I did was working. I was lost. I didn't really understand what was going on. So I did the best I could do, which was learn strategies my opponents were using against my Yuffie and using it against other people. And so I learned how to play this Last Rider Crow, Angel of Light Angelica, and Aiden kind of draft into opposing Abyssal Yuffie. I just started smacking them down. 4 days left for the end of the season, and I'm starting off pretty strong. I'm at 3,400 points, and that's about the Emperor cutoff line, but the expected Emperor cutoff, the final cutoff, should be around 35, 50-ish points. So while I was chilling, it did not last long. I could not beat ML Shu. The dang bad. Oh my gosh, this character so much. I was fuming, I was ranting to friends. I could not figure out how to beat the character. Another combination I could also not figure out was a combination of Abyssal Yuffie and Pillis, Rocket Punch Pillis, because I tended to pick Aiden as my counter into Yuffie, and they would pick Pillis, and I just didn't have answer to that little combination. And so I tried everything. It's just, I was in experimentation mode because nothing was working. I even tried Blue Shu. That's right, Blue Shu. And it like almost worked once. And it lost me a couple games. Yeah, the thought was there, right? And so in the next 2 days, I dropped all the way down to 3,250 points. Right, I lost 150 points instead of gaining them. I was angry, I was frustrated, exasperated, exhausted, but I had to keep playing because I was not in a good position for the final day. I've never been more miserable playing Epic 7 in like the whole 4 something years that I've been playing. Let me tell you that. And it made sense. Games I could have won, stolen from me just by pure random chance. 40% procs over and over, counterattacks over and over, Elmer's ritual swords left and right. I could not escape it, but I powered on through, clawing my points back game by game, and I managed to get back to 3350 points before the final. 200 points away from the expected Emperor cutoff. This was gonna be really difficult. The final day of the season, January 5th, 2024. I woke up feeling refreshed, but I needed a plan. I could not afford to get tilted like I had been the last couple days. I needed to have breaks throughout the day, something I failed at miserably last season, and it exploded in my face. I grinded away, tilted my life away, just like the last 2 days. And more importantly, I needed a way to combat the tilt in between games, which is when I remembered Navy SEAL breathing technique that's used to relieve stress, manage stress, calm down, and increase focus. It's called box breathing. You breathe in for what I did was 5 counts, hold it for 5 counts, breathe out for 5 counts, and then hold it for 5 counts. You complete the box. I started doing this box breathing technique before every single match, and it worked. I skyrocketed to 3,466 points and rank 1,186. 200 ranks to go, 100 points away from the expected cutoff. 8 hours left to go, and we had already reached 3,511. We caught up to Emperor. After catching up to Emperor, it was time for a break. We had planned an outing to a Lantern Lights festival. They had a bunch of lanterns filled with lights at night. It was a lot of fun. It really helped take my mind off of Epic 7, take my mind off of, honestly, some of the stress that's been going on the past couple days. I was only 4-win streak away from achieving my goal of Emperor. Fortunately, I went the other direction and had a 5-lose streak. So I really had to lock it in, get my breathing back in, get my stress down, my focus up, get these wins in these last couple hours of the season. Here's how it went. Our opponent picks Rimuru, and we respond with Crimson Armin and Destina. The opponent takes control of the buff-debuff game with Angel of Light and Mediator Coward. I need to come up with 2 carries strong into his team. I notice they have low damage, so I pick Leafy. Leafy should be able to run through their low damage team as long as I ban their last carry correctly. I also notice that they have an activator for me for Rimuru, which lets me play one of my favorite DPSs all season, Lionheart Cermia. So we're going to slam Lionheart Cermia, see their last 2 picks, and come up with a plan. Our opponent's deliberating how to break through our defenses, and they go with Strays and Gala Lilius. I really don't want to deal with Gala Lilius, so she's got to get banned. So how are we dealing with Strays? Strays can't choose who he kills, so I see an opportunity to go double Knight, double mitigation. They can't get rid of both, and even if they get rid of one, I can always revive it with the Destina. So my opponent bans Destina, and our double mitigation tank down begins. Good luck, my friend. Strays isn't even able to take out Arrowell through Crimson Armin's Aureus. Mediator Coward can't get the job done either, so our opponent blows all their cooldowns into Arrowell just to get it off the field. They cannot afford that stun. I see a setup with my immunity Crimson Armin proccing their Rimuru, and after setting up with Leafy, we've got
No passive on AoL, skill nullifiers taken out, the perfect setup for Lionheart Sirmium. This should take out Strays with ease, and Rimuru is next on the chopping block. There he goes with no DPS left. It's game over for our opponent. GG! We're tiptoeing around in this game, both of us with knights and supports. I do not want to reveal my hand too early. And the opponent picks Spirit Eye Selene, which I think is a pretty good character this meta, into Abyssal Euphine, but I do not have Abyssal Euphine. And then Aran, which kind of raises my eyebrows. I don't know really what to do, but we've got to find 2 DPS which can deal with Spirit Eye Selene and Ran. I'm planning to take something that can get through Spirit Eye Selene's passive and something tank enough to live through Ran's initial burst. That should do the trick. We end up with Pirate Flan and Mercedes, Archdemon Mercedes. I don't really want to deal with that Luluka, so we just ban her. They take out our mitigation, so this is going to be a little interesting. And our opponent decides to run all their debuffs into our team, but Destina remains, and Destina cleanses, and Destina heals, and I'm feeling pretty good about how this is playing out. They opt to go for Pirate Flan first, but not before we get a clutch stun on Ran. Psych! RNL Barogs. Ran gets out of jail, puts up immunity right before our Archdemon's S3 is available, which is super unfortunate. But we get a little lucky in return, proccing our counterattack, denying another RNL from the opponent. Whew, got out of jail with that one. We push up. Mercedes just gonna slam the damage in. I know we don't get any debuffs here, but this is what we got to do. Trying to decide who to get a little extra incidental damage on. We go for Arrowell, happen to get a proc, and Fairy Tail Artifact is going to take out Selene. And just like last game, no DPS, no problem, GG's. Okay. Our opponent leads Abyssal, Euphine, and Destina into our Carmen, so I need something to take out debuffs. I don't want to deal with debuffs, so that's where we got Mediator, Coward, and Aiden is my go-to answer for Euphine this season, but I am worried about the Rocket Punch Pillis. Rocket Punch Pillis has been a pain in my ass all week, but luckily for me, I guess, they go for a Briarwitch Asaria to counter Aiden. And they're really thinking about this last one, but I gotta figure out how to deal with Briarwitch. Ron. Again? Is people just comfort picking Ron today? I don't know what the deal is. So, we got 2 squishies and a lot of defense breaks coming our way, so we need another unit that can get rid of debuffs, something to help with the squishies, and we need another counter for Abyssal Euphine, because if they ban Aiden and I don't have something, we're going to be in big trouble. That is pretty tricky to figure out, but I end up deciding my way to counter debuffs is going to be designer a little bit. And I'm going to fall back on a favorite, ML Ken, to deal with this Euphine character. Sirmia comes out, but we don't really care, and they ban Cowrick. So it's gonna be a little tricky here in the match because a lot of defense breaks and only 1 cleanse. Our opponent strips the Briarwitch Asaria after not ripping Ran, just being scared of this Aiden counterattack, and gets pretty unlucky activating it. And we are pretty much through the first onslaught. Aiden takes out Ran, and now that we are in this state, ML Ken and Aiden should be able to run through the rest of their team. Briarwitch goes down to ML Ken. Aiden takes out Destina, and then really all that is left is this Abyssal Euphine. Even with the Holy Sacrifice, they have no choice but to activate all our trap cards. Aiden goes, ML Ken goes, and that closes out this game. Well played. Oh my goodness. It's the moment.
I'll end this quickly.
I think we did it. I think we did it.
Armin's
Ooh.
all ready.
First time ever.
Ugh,
It's been
what the
a
heck?
long time coming. It's been a long time coming. Woo! Finally. Finally.